A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to say.
You got f***ing grow up, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast, available live exclusively on twitch.tv/Gallant Says or youtube.com/Paul Gallant. I don't know why I say it's exclusive anymore. Maybe it's because I'm trying to run up those Twitch subscription numbers. You can also, of course, catch it out in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud as well. It is Thursday, November 3rd of 2022. Had a lot of fun last night going to Austin's backyard up in the Heights, watching the game with some of my girlfriends. It's a good old time. Maybe I need to do that going forward. Maybe white wine is the move as far as good luck the rest of this series. The lucky jersey, it seems like it's worn out. It's luck. It's also smelly and smells like ass. I got to wash the thing. I think I'm going to wear my Justin Verlander jersey tomorrow. But the other thing is, too, as far as talking about the whole, strategy of watching a game, I got to figure out if I'm going to watch two sporting events tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. If you have seen my TV setup at my condo. Hey, did you know I have a condo? Sup, ladies? I have two TVs in my main living area. It's a nice sectional couch that generally whenever I sit on it, I fall asleep. If I were there, I would have the Thursday night football game between the Texans and the Eagles on mute on the top TV because I don't think it's going to go particularly well for Houston. And on the bottom TV, I would, of course, have the World Series with full volume on, even though I don't want to fucking hear Joe Davis, Dodger Joe Davis, anymore, and his blatant attempts to try and jinx a perfect game, which you heard throughout last night's broadcast, including at Austin's Backyard Bar, which had the TV volume on a little bit loud. I know, I sound old. I'm 33 years old. What do you want me to say? I don't have the best hearing anymore. How am I going to talk with my girlfriends? Yes, Queen, if I can't hold a style. I'm just going to have to yell all night. I saw this post from my guy, Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan used to be a coworker of mine at Sports Radio 610 in Houston. We had like a weird little rivalry at first. I always respected Mark, but I was like, what? I'm nervous about him. What if he takes some of my airtime away by subbing in for the Gallant at Night radio program? And then he had like Dana Holgerson call in one night. No, wait, it was Tillman Fertitta who called in and said like, hey, UH isn't a bunch of, afterthoughts in college football. We're a real serious program. And then they attributed Tillman calling into my show and not into Mark. I feel bad. Audio not great at Austin's backyard, says Bob's 4. Okay, so somebody else feels the same way as me. But anyway, Mark Ryan tweeted this out. Is Houston a baseball city or a football city? Only one can be the true love. I disagree with that. I think you could love multiple people. Perhaps it is because of my French heritage, but I am of the belief that you can be a free lover and open to anything. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, Paul, wow, you're going to open up this podcast with a lazy take, a lazy topic. Yes, fuck you. I was watching that game last night, and I had 2 Mexican candy shots, okay? The originality department maybe not rolling as hard as it normally does. But when I saw that tweet, I thought to myself, well, Houston's not really an anything town. It's a whoever is good town. Especially after the Oilers left. Like, the Texans have never been, I think, fully embraced here. But also, you've had stretches where teams in town have been complete afterthoughts. And right now, you're on the verge of having 2 teams like that. The Houston Texans and the Houston Rockets, who I have yet to watch. Shout out to Vanessa Richardson doing the broadcasts. I'm having a hard time telling myself to even catch a minute of these games, even with Vanessa on the broadcast, with the way that I have at least read that things have started. I think that Houston is, though, a town of whatever team is doing well. I would say that in the early 2010s, it was a Texans town. The Texans were doing well. And I would say that in the mid-90s, it was a Rockets town, because the Rockets, of course, won a couple of titles. The Rockets, when they were good over this past decade, never really fully were embraced by the city, at least by me. I always thought James Harden just played an unwatchable brand of basketball, didn't play defense, had no honor, was kind of fat. I didn't like that side of him either. But I think that Houston is a whatever is doing well kind of sports town. And I think most sports towns are like that. And by the way, there's no problem with that. You know, I've been getting a lot of shit from Philadelphians over the last couple of days about calling them a bit of a bandwagon sports town. But they are. They only give a fuck about the Eagles. They don't really care about any of the other teams in town. They might claim that they do, but they don't. I just don't buy that. Not for a second. That it's like a Phillies town or something like that. Commentary, E315 joining me. What's up, E315? Great White Shark on the twitch.tv/Gallant says, if all teams are equal, says Great White Shark, I still think the Astros have the biggest following in the H. E315 says the Astros unite, the Texans do not. The problem has been that the Texans have never done anything of consequence, so how would we know? I mean, the Astros won a World Series after a hurricane hit town. They got Justin Verlander a little bit, I think, before the hurricane hit. And yeah, there was a real feeling of community with that team doing what it did. But do the Astros unite on a level that all the other teams in town can't? I don't buy that. I just don't. I really think it's whoever's good. And I think most sports towns are like that. I'll talk about Boston, where I grew up. So when I was growing up in Massachusetts, it was all about the Red Sox, even though they weren't good. And it used to be the Red Sox town, even though the Celtics historically had won 16, 17 titles, even though the Boston Bruins and Boston's being such a hockey hotbed, lots of hockey fans up there. Honestly, the hockey team drew more than the basketball team for a long period of time. But the Patriots were such an afterthought. Now, part of it had to do with the fact that they were a joke on the Texans level, except for imagine the Texans also being poor, like the most poor franchise in the NFL. But then the Patriots won, and they kept winning, and then that city became a football town. And think about some other of the big cities that are baseball towns in baseball. Why are they baseball towns? New York, it's a baseball town. Well, the Yankees are really good. The Mets are really good. The Giants and Jets are playing pretty well this season, but no one fully buys in. And then you always hear about how the Knicks are in town. Oh, wow, the Knicks. Well, if the Knicks were more successful, that would be the Knicks town to lose. That's how it works. It's who's successful. Los Angeles. The Rams just won a Super Bowl. That might be the rare exception where it's just always going to be the Lakers town. Never the Dodgers, never the Rams or the Chargers, maybe USC or UCLA basketball in a good year, USC football. I feel like a lot of these cities that are baseball cities, though, just have a lot of shit going on in the other teams in town. St. Louis doesn't have a football team. That's why it's a Cardinals town. Some others off the top of my head. Cities that have every single team but aren't a football town. I think when a football town wins, it does captivate the most people. Easier to watch, less games, more of an event. Baseball is weird because all of a sudden the playoff baseball is just so different than the regular season, and that does bring together people in a way that you don't see during a regular season. But for months at a time, it's kind of like a casual on in the background watch. I say this as someone who's not the biggest baseball fan. Some comments, twitch.tv/ESPN. Excuse me, no, that's not it. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, this is from Cold Take Jim. Didn't the Patriots almost move away? Yeah, 1993, they almost moved to St. Louis. And then Robert Kraft, he bought the team. G-Man says, Gallant, you're day man. Go Stros. Hell yeah. Cold Take Jim says Atlanta. Now, that's a weird town because, like, the soccer team seems to be the one that people are most excited about. But guess what? They won when they first came to town. Falcons choke all the time. I think the Braves, when they were successful, were. And I think that the Braves this season definitely were a team that people in that city were embracing. Over the course of the 90s, I bet they fucking did too. But it really is about, like, is the team good or not? That's what town you are. That's what kind of a sports town you are. I know that the Texans have told themselves for years, well, Houston's a football town. People love Houston more than anything in this city. And maybe that's true. But if the team's not successful, it's just not the same. And I have no problem with the city being a bunch of bandwagon riders. Nothing wrong with that at all. We're talking about supporting a corporate product. If you're paying money to watch something that's being run like a corporation, well, they're not doing well. Don't support them with your money. Don't support them with your time. It's one of the funny things about leaving the Northeast. In the Northeast, you are expected to constantly be loyal to these teams, even though you will boo them on a regular basis. And I think it's what separates, Boston, New York, or Philadelphia from down here. But honestly, I feel like we are a more evolved version of sports fan down here. Obviously, lots of transplants, so that changes things a little bit here in Houston. But at the same time, I think that there's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the Texans. I don't give a fuck about the Rockets. Very curious as to how this game is going to go. I do want to say about the Texans right now, I feel bad for them. I think a lot of people are dunking on them right now for no reason at all. Like, they scheduled this Battle Red game months ago. You're going to unschedule it because the Phillies are in town. They're playing the Phillies. Like, the Battle Red uniforms look sick. They planned this schedule ahead. What are the odds that the Astros were going to play the Philadelphia Phillies in a game, World Series, that's taking place the same week as that Thursday? They scheduled this in advance. Baseball season starts a little bit later. I know that the football schedule came out after baseball season got delayed because of Rob Manfred and, the Players Association liking to fight for the sake of fighting. You delay the week a little bit, and that's why you see the Astros wrapping up the regular season weirdly with the Philadelphia Phillies or something else. I just think that the people that are dunking on the Texans today, like, cut them some fucking slack. The red helmets actually look cool. Yes, the team account tweeted out, hey, wear red to the stadium. They're probably not thinking it through all the way. Generally, the people that work in football, like, they are so close-minded, same as the people that work in baseball as in basketball, and they are going to focus on the team that they work for day to day. And I feel bad for those people. Don't dunk on them just because they happen to be wearing the Battle Red stuff today. I'm just saying that. You can if you want. I think it's a dickish thing to do. The red helmets look cool. I think it's about time that they have a new look. They're probably going to lose to the Eagles tonight. What else do we have? On twitch.tv/ESPN96. God damn it. I keep on doing it. ESPN is not the Twitch that we're doing right now. Twitch.tv/Gallant says. E315 says, don't feel bad for them. The Texans are the middle child. No one cares about them. Well, you should feel bad for the middle child. You should. Cold Take Jim, do the Texans need a rebrand? Name or logo? I've thought about this before. I don't hate the nickname. I used to. I've come around on it. I think the logo could be better. I feel like the logo should be like Sam Houston on a horse, or Davy Crockett, or someone with a gun. I think like the bull, the cow, kind of lame, But that's just me. Like, if you're the Texans, I think you should, like, really lean into the fact that you're basing it off of the people of Texas as opposed to, like, hey, steer. It's kind of close to UT. E315 asks, will there be more orange at NRG Stadium than red? No, I think there will be more red. Because I think that there will be a lot of Phillies fans there. And I think they're going to be wearing red. I could be wrong on that. We could see a lot of green, too. That's for damn sure. It will be an interesting dynamic to take a look at the colors of the crowd. That sounds racist. It's not meant to be, okay? We're not talking about anything other than wardrobes. Bob's Force says of the Texans helmet, they are sick. Life and Sports Talk with Jake says, once you get no hit, you don't go back. Just saying. Well, that's why Philadelphia is so fucking quiet today, ain't it? I don't know how many of you regularly check out the website Barstool Sports. I do. I've been reading it since it was just a Boston website way back in 2009. I like it. I know the content is not necessarily for everyone. Feel however you want to feel about it. But in the middle of Game 3, where the Phillies hit all those home runs, guess how many blogs you might have seen from Philadelphia-based bloggers? We're talking like 5 to 6. But then, last night happens. I went to Barstool Sports this morning to see if anything had been written so I could perhaps rub the nips to some Philadelphia sadness. Nothing there. But I thought that they weren't a bandwagon city. What's happening here? What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Philadelphia's a bandwagon city that only cares really about the Eagles when it comes down to it. And if the Phillies aren't doing well, and if they all of a sudden feel the air of inevitability with Mr. Smith holding Neo on train tracks, waiting for the train to take them both out, the air of inevitability is what you saw last night, like that Astros pitching staff. That's the reality of this World Series. You take away Justin Verlander and Lance McCullers and the beatings that they took, the Phillies really haven't done a whole lot of anything at the plate. And look, they deserve credit for what they did to Verlander and McCullers. That's no easy task, even if Verlander sucks in the World Series for some reason, even if McCullers is inconsistent. They deserve credit for that. But for the most part, the Astros pitching has dominated Philadelphia's hitting. Now the Astros bats just need to wake up. But I feel like Philadelphia is looking a little soft today. And I know there were some stories yesterday about how Philadelphia is refusing to serve catering to the actual Astros themselves, partly because I imagine they think to themselves, well, are we going to perhaps spit accidentally in the food, put other things in there, credit card ourselves and, wipe it in the batter? I don't know if that's something that they're thinking about. Could potentially happen if they were preparing food for the Houston Astros. What I do know is that for all of the talk that we heard yesterday about Philly being a good sports town, it's been fucking quiet. Cold Take Jim says they'll turn on each other by fighting in the restrooms. That could be potentially true. I don't know about that, though, because it just doesn't seem like they are as hard as they make themselves out to be. I base it off of this. I looked up Jose Alvarado's mentions last night. Jose Alvarado, the relief pitcher who comes in with the bases loaded for the Astros. First pitch, he hits Yordan Alvarez, gives up the 2-run double to Alex Bregman, gives up a single to Yuli Gurriel. You score some more runs. There was a sacrifice fly by Kyle Tucker in there as well. He came in and legitimately relieved himself on national TV. Wow, Paul, that was a funny one, huh? Hell yeah, Paul Gallant. What a fantastic transition. Look, he sucked. And I figured, just knowing Philadelphia, that we would see all sorts of mean things sent his way. I looked it up last night, didn't see anything. Looked it up this morning. I figured there would be at least something. From unlimitedtech.com, which is an actual website with all sorts of fucking advertisements on it, Phillies fans weren't happy with the collapse of Jose Alvarado in the fourth match. Philly in the over. Jose Alvarado almost celebrated that strikeout. LOL. Jose Alvarado, I know Nola left you in a bad situation, but come on, man. Lex says, embarrassing inning for Nola and Alvarado. Steve says, Nola let us down and Alvarado is imploding. Not great considering tomorrow is a bullpen game. Yes, because that means Noah Syndergaard's on the hill. Take Alvarado off the field, please. Worst outing for Alvarado since game 1 in St. Louis. Where's the vitriol, you pussies? I thought you guys were tough. And listen, I'm not advocating. There's like music playing in my apartment right now. What in the goddamn fuck is that? Hang on a second, people. I got. For some reason, Flor Palita by Mark Anthony was just playing on my Echo. So I don't know. Maybe someone just hacked into my old Spotify. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, here we go. Look, they're a hardcore sports town, but you're not even going to give Jose Alvarado death threats. I thought you guys were tough. And I'm not endorsing that, by the way. I'm just surprised that there's not that much out there. Even the basketball player who plays for the Pelicans didn't catch strays. I looked up his mentions online, and all of the mentions were essentially like saying, oh, man, Alvarado should have come back in the game last night. So, I don't know. I think Philadelphia, for this like sports town that puts itself up on this big old pedestal, I just don't think they're as tough as they claim to be. I think for the Eagles they are, but for the Phillies, nah, not so much. Cold Take Jim says, for a town that claims to be hardcore, there was a lot of whining about the Astros supposedly cheating. I guess I didn't hear it outside of what, the Maldonado bat situation? Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while. What was the other one? It wasn't Maldonado's bats, too. It was, oh yeah, Framber Valdez, like, changing his cleats and playing around with the ball. I still can't get over why the fuck a Mark Anthony song was just playing on my Alexa back in there. I don't know if my cat has figured out a way how to talk or something like that, but anyway. Kenneth C. asks the question, because it's an Ask Gallant Anything special every single show on the Twitch show, twitch.tv/Gallant Says, or on the Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud podcast. Gallant Says, look it up, write, review, subscribe, tell a friend. Off topic, but can we get a grassroots movement to get the Oilers back from Miss Amy? I don't think she's ever going to give it up. I think a lot of it has to do with pride. Maybe she's more willing to sell it, given that they're building a new stadium now. But I feel like the way that the city treated Bud Adams, whether fair or unfair, all the shit talking that happened after the fact, I don't think that anybody is going to I don't think that she's going to do it. I feel like there's too many burnt bridges. There are too many hard feelings to get over to potentially give the Oilers back. E315 says, I need a Gallant Says shirt or sticker. Maybe we'll make one at some point. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. We need some money. We got to figure out how to get this fucker sponsored. That would be nice. And someone that can do like the pop-out videos and stuff so I can promote this online and not actually have to do all the work. That would be great. Like, that's the main reason I don't do this as much as I should. I just hate all the fucking work afterwards. Going on the air and just half-assing it. I mean, doing a show. It's easy. I saw this story, and it cracked me up a little bit. I guess that all of a sudden, people are leaving Twitter in droves. Or at the very least, they are looking up how to leave Twitter. I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs of Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. It does seem like we're going to see some of the old, usual crazy suspects, like a Donald J. Trump, among others, back on the app. I just find it funny that there's a lot of people out there that now are saying that they're going to get off of Twitter. Who is Shonda Rhimes? I don't know. Blue check mark. I guess she's famous. She is not hanging around for whatever Elon has planned. Okay, bye. All right. That's neat. Sarah Bareilles, famous singer, great voice. Welp, it's been fun, Twitter. I'm out. See you on the other platform, peeps. Sorry, this one's just not for me. Why? This is what I don't get. Like, why all of a sudden is Twitter not for somebody? Twitter fucking sucks. There's no positive to Twitter. It's a bunch of just yelling at one another in 280 characters or less with no actual reason or discourse. It's just yelling at each other and never agreeing with each other and posting clickbaity headlines and stuff. That's it. Stealing content, repurposing content. It's not a good app. It's fucking terrible. I suppose it's the best app there is when it comes to the exchange of information, the passing of news, blah, blah, blah. But why are all of a sudden people like, I'm out on Twitter? Tony Braxton, I'm shocked and appalled at some of the, quote, free speech, end quote, I've seen on this platform since its acquisition. The free speech was there before, woman. Hate speech under the veil of free speech is unacceptable, and therefore I am choosing to stay off Twitter as it is no longer a safe space for myself, my sons, or other people of color. It's never been a safe space for anybody. It's a stupid fucking app where people just yell at each other. Mick Foley said, I'm taking a break. Ken Olin, hey, I'm out of here. No judgment. Let's keep the faith. Let's protect our democracy. Let's try to be kinder. Let's try to save the planet. Let's try to be more generous. Let's look to find peace in the world. Okay, like, again, Elon just bought an app. Like, you think he's going to be that serious with it? Some comments. E315 says, I hope everyone just quits it, but I'm just a hater. I do too. I hate it. Now I got to pay for a blue check mark, and I probably need to keep paying for it. Like, I am a little bit annoyed by that, but I honestly shouldn't have a blue check mark to begin with. I don't know why I got it. Cold Take Jim says, Twitter is a cesspool, but at least it's free. For now! That's why these people are actually leaving. Rob Reiner, for those who are fighting to preserve our constitutional democracy, now is not the time to leave Twitter. Now is the time to vote blue. What? One good thing about Elon buying Twitter is that I will finally leave and stop being a complete menace to society. This is from Jamila Jamil. So it's a win-win for you already. I just don't get it. Like, you have to announce to the world too that you're leaving. Like, why? Why not just leave? I mean, you're giving the app more breaths of life by saying, yeah, you know what? Like, this is just too much for me. You know, I just can't do it anymore. I'm done. All right. Okay. It's gonna be non-stop spot. It's gonna be weed. You know, like, I just don't get it. Like, a guy bought the app. He's saying that some people that have been banned for, like, kind of fucked up reasons are going to be back on. I don't think he's going to make the app better necessarily. I think some people are kind of going too far with that, but I don't know. The app that has essentially become a public forum for everybody, I don't think that there should be any limitations on speech. And yeah, it kind of sucks that there is hate speech out there. That's for sure. I'm not endorsing it. I think it's fucked up, some of the stuff that people say to one another on this app, especially considering that a lot of people are doing it under complete anonymity. Anonymity. I can't pronounce that word. Whatever. Who cares? You know what I'm trying to say. Anonymity. Did I get it right? Get it right that time? That's what bothers me, is the people that, like, will talk shit and their profile picture is an egg. It's like, you're a fucking pussy if you can't even put your name on it, if you're doing it in a way where like, you're going after people really on a really mean way, and like, your name's not on it. I think that's messed up. Like, sign your name on it if you're gonna go out there, you know? I still can't read in, and I'm gonna have to, like, listen to someone say it. But yeah, here's another story that I saw. Google searches for how to delete Twitter are up 500% since Elon Musk bought the platform. How about go to your phone, click on the app until it does the little shaky thing back and forth with a minus, and press minus. You gotta Google how to delete it? Like, how fucking stupid are you? It's really easy to delete an app on your phone. I've done it several times with the dating apps. And I honestly need to, because I often find myself, like, just mindlessly going, like I am right now, on Bumble. Oh, what's up, girl? Look at that ass, though. Oh, hey. Babe, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. We gonna go on a date later this week? Hell yeah. You know, like, it's very easy to delete these things. Just fucking delete it if you don't like it. You don't need to make a big show about how you're leaving the party. No one likes that person. I'm leaving this party because it's not for me. Ta-ta for now. Just Irish exit if it's not for you. Everyone's going to think that you're annoying for having the idea that it was a good idea to bring this up. Like, no one cares. Don't be a party pooper. Ay caramba. All right, that's going to wrap up today's day edition of the Gallant Says podcast. We'll be back at it with another late post-game edition after Game 5 of the World Series. Astros undefeated in Game 5 in the World Series, because that one World Series that they were in where there wasn't a Game 5 because they got swept, they didn't play that one. So, yeah. But anyway, hey, let's go Astros! And we'll be back at it later. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Gallant Says podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, etc. You can also, of course, subscribe on Twitch, twitch.tv/Gallant Says, youtube.com/PaulGallant. So long, farewell, have yourselves a wonderful Thursday afternoon, and you'll hear from me later on tonight after perhaps a couple of wine glasses, white wine, because it's going to be, once again, Girls' Night!